Jazz Improvisation and the Brain. The article I used was titled Higher Note Activity with Less Functional Connectivity During Musical Improvisation. Introduction. Musical improvisation is a complex form of creative behavior. It offers a realistic task paradigm for the investigation of real-time creativity where revision is not possible. It has the ability to adapt and integrate sequences of sounds and motor productions in real time while connecting it with stored motor sequences. In this article, the researchers wanted to discover what and how the brain areas were involved during musical improvisation. It is not fully understood, but the idea is that musical improvisation, such as creative behavior, involves the dynamic interaction of the default mode network, the DMN, which is an autonomic bottom-up process, and executive control network, the ECN, which is a top-down control process, and they're usually not active at the same time. The DMN pertains to spontaneous and self-generated thought, such as mind-wandering, mental simulation, social cognition, and future thinking, whereas the ECN pertains to memory, relational integration, and task set switching. Materials and methods. Participants consisted of 24 male advanced jazz musicians who had at least 6 years of performance experience on jazz improvisation. This experiment utilized functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, to analyze the brains of advanced jazz improvisers performing improvisatory vocalization imagery. This was in order to avoid possible confounds of mixed motor and perceptual variables, along with the performance of a pre-learned melody as a control task. As such, the participants were given 4 tasks. The 4 tasks include vocalize pre-learned, vocalize improvised, imagine pre-learned, and imagine improvised. The behavioral data was analyzed along with the fMRI data. Connectivity analysis was based on the activation of T-maps during overall improvisation compared with overall pre-learned conditions. To determine directional information flow between regions of interest, a Granger causality analysis was utilized. This table depicts the participants. So you have the participant number, their age, their years of experience, and their primary instrument. These over here depict the 4 primary tasks. So the jazz musicians were told to memorize certain songs, and then they would perform that, and then they would have to go and improvise according to that song as well. The results. In behavior analysis, there was no significant difference between the number of notes during pre-learned and improvised conditions. In the brain activations analysis, they found that there was higher brain activity during improvised tasks than with pre-learned tasks. There were significant changes in the frontal activity, the left IFG including the BCA motor areas. With network activity, there were 6 nodes analyzed: the IFG, DL, PFC, MFG, SMA, RCB, and STG. There was less functional connectivity during improvised compared with pre-learned. And this depicts the different brain areas. This is the brain activations. So this is during the overall improvisation compared to the overall pre-learned areas. And this depicts Broca's area where activity was seen, and then in the frontal cortex as well. And this here shows the functional connectivity for the pre-learned condition and the improvised condition. And it depicts only the functionally significant areas. So discussion. Improvised and pre-learned conditions gave rise to similar motor actions but differing mode of creations. Musical improvisations are characterized by significant changes in frontal cortices and increased widespread activity in the left IFG, including BCA, DLFBC, and extending to the motor areas IPMS, MC, in MFG, SMA, and RCB. The IFG is involved with the evaluation of creative ideas generated by neural structures associated with the DMN. The BCA plays a central role in the creation of musical output. Tonal music is hierarchically organized both according to tonal and rhythmic hierarchies, which is similar to jazz improvisations. BCA, therefore, has been shown to activate in higher order chunking mechanisms central to hierarchically organized sequences. As such, BCA may control the selection and concatenation of auditory chunks that form a tactically pleasing sequence. However, their main result was that functional connectivity was surprisingly less during improvisation. The head researcher, Norgod, stated, This idea of flow, where you're completely immersed in activity, has been linked to deactivation of some brain areas. It may be that performing improvisation engages a smaller, more focused brain network, while other parts of the brain go quiet. The next experiment that was conducted in relation to jazz music in the brain was a test to determine the cognitive flexibility and how learning to improvise affects other cognitive abilities as well. Thank you.